Hi guys, Kim here. Welcome to Backyard Blooms. In today's video, we're going to deadhead some David Austin roses. I'm here in my English garden. This rose garden is 2 years old, and I have 4 David Austin roses in this garden. Behind me, I have Boscobel that is looking lovely right now. I have Gabrielle Oak, Princess Alexandra of Kent, and Eustacia Vye. These roses, like I said, have been in this garden for 2 years, and I planted them when they were bare root. So we're going to get to pruning. If you're new to my channel and you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe below. It's free to subscribe. Thank you. These beautiful roses here are Boscobel. They have different colors on their flowers, ranging from coral to a hot pink. And that's one of the reasons I just love this rose, for the variation of color. They pair really well with these sprinter boxwoods. When I planted these sprinter boxwoods, they were a 2-gallon shrub, and I planted them about 28 inches apart. And I'm going to try to grow them as a tight hedge. But here's the roses right here. And when you're deadheading a cluster rose, you'll take it all the way back to the cluster. But for example, here's a cluster, and there is the dead rose. So we don't want to cut this bloom off or this bloom. We just want to get this one dead off. So we're going to take that back just to this area right here and cut there for this one. So let me see if I can find another one. Alright, so this one right here again is just a loner, and we're going to take this all the way back to a set of 5 leaves. So we have 5 leaves here and we have 5 leaves here. I'm going to take it to the 5 leaves that go this way, because if I cut it this way, the new stem is going to grow inside, and we don't want to do that. We want to encourage all of our growth to be outside. So I'm going to take trying to hold this flower here and cut it. So we're going to take it where this set of leaves goes out this way. Cut it right there. Alright, so this one is still doing okay, so we're not going to bother that one. Showing you these gorgeous flowers as we go along here. Here's another one that needs to be deadheaded. So again, this set of 5 leaves is going this way, and this one's going out this way. We want to encourage it to go out that way. So we're going to take it and cut right there. And let's see. This one right here has a cluster, so we're not going to take this whole cluster out. We just want to do this one bloom here. Same with this one. It already has a set of 5 leaves all the way around it, so I'm just going to take this bud off right there. And the same with that one right here. The cluster is doing really well, so I'm just going to remove just that one. And the same with this. Not really having to cut too far down on these right here. This is a good example of just seeing these variations of pink here. Look how beautiful that is. Okay, and then we have a dead one here. So this is example where we have the 5 leaves going inwards and 5 leaves going outwards. We could take it down further if we wanted to, but I'm just going to take this one off right there. Like find and seek. Where are the dead ones? And here's one right here. So I could take it to here, or I could even take it all the way back. Let's just take it all the way back here. And this is new growth. What a new growth looks like. This is where it's going to produce new blooms. You can see there's starting to form a bud there. New bud. Here's one. Really have any clusters that need to be removed right now. I don't look like on this type of rose. So again, here 5's going out, 5 coming in. So I'm just going to come right above that set of 5 and cut right there. The pruners that I'm using today are Felco 2s. I love them because they have a good spring back action. You don't have to like stop and like bring it back open. And then again here. So we have 5 sets that are going outwards. And then, well, both of these are kind of going outwards. I'm just going to come above right here and cut right there. There's another one that needs to be pruned. So you can see that this is a set of 3. So I want to prune all the way down to the set of 5. I can even come down even more to all the way to here, because this set of 5 is coming outwards. Going to give it a cut right there. Alright, and here's some dead right here that need to be taken out. So you could tell that this set of 5 is going inwards, but this set of 5 is going outwards. So we're just going to cut right above that. And this is the 5 that are coming out this way. And this one we can take a little bit back further. To here. And this one is on a cluster as well. So we're just going to take this one away right here. Look at that gorgeous color. And this one is on its way out here. So let's just give it a all the way back to the set of 5. And the same here. And this one is on its way out as well. So this one's going in that way, and this set is coming out, so we're going to take it all the way back to here. And this one's on its way out, and this one you could see that has a little bit more of a cluster here. So, but there's still one more bloom that I'm going to get there, so I don't want to take the whole cluster off. So I'm going to cut that just this back to here. And I can go ahead and get these little dead stems off as well. That's not wanting to come off. Alright, just this is the view from the fire pit up towards this one quadrant of the Boscobels. You can see I have some concrete accent here as well, and some lighting. These colors look gorgeous against that crepe myrtle. It gives that lilac blooms, and then in the back there with the jazzberries. So all these colors look really gorgeous together. And then peeking over here to the left, you have the bubblegum on the ground as well. This is a view of the Boscobel from my back porch. My husband got me this sign for my birthday that says Kim's Rose Garden. And then I have some fencing that goes along here just to hold these boxwoods in and to give it a little accent as well. You can see all the different colors of pink and coral color here as well. It's starting to cool down a little bit more here at nighttime in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're a zone 8. So I feel like these roses like a little bit of coolness at night. And then we have a batch here of dead blooms. So again, this one's coming out, so we want to encourage the growth to go outwards. So I'm going to give it a cut right there. And these, so this is on a cluster. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 blooms on this cluster right here. So we're going to take this whole entire cluster off. Show you where I'm going to come down. So it's hard to see, my hand's all the way in all these flowers right here. But I have 5 David Austin roses here in a grouping. And that's what it looked like when I took the whole entire cluster off. Right there. But if you plant 5 of them, or I'd say even 3 to 5 of these roses together, it gives you a bigger wow factor of color, and it makes the shrub look bigger. And David Austin, in their directions to plant, says that you can do this. So this one needs to come off. And this one as well. My little pop-up bag that I'm throwing all my dead blooms in. It's convenient, and this bag pops down all the way flat for easy storage, and you can drag it as well, which is nice. This is the other quadrant. This is Gabrielle Oak. Gabrielle Oak has more of a real hot pink blooms on it. This color this rose doesn't really have a big variety of color to it, just one color. the hot pink, almost to the reddish, but not quite red, but just a real deep hot pink color. This one has a good uprightness to it as well. I have 5 in here also. The leaf greenery on this one is a little bit darker than the Boscobel. That's a cluster right there, so I'm just going to take the one off. And painting down here. So we want to encourage it to grow outwards. So trim there. And there's one here. So we'll take it back down a little bit more. There. These roses have responded really well to that Milorganite that I put on. I was told by Pike's Nursery that it was proven. It's a slow release fertilizer that you put on these roses in the spring and in the fall. And as the shrubs absorb the fertilizer, the deer do not like the taste or smell. So they have not been eating on my roses ever since I've applied that product to these roses. You can also shape your roses up too if you have like a really long bloom or a really long sprout that you don't like and they're just out of control. You can prune them back as well. You just don't want to do a really hard prune until around Valentine's Day, so that's easy for me to remember, roses and Valentine's Day. But like this one right here is kind of long and spindly. I'm not going to cut this off quite yet because it still has some really gorgeous blooms on it. But if I wanted to take this back, I could. Like if you don't like the shape of it, you can cut it back to this limb, which is going to have another rose. Or you can even cut it all the way back to here. But like I said, it's not really hurting anything right now. I'm just going to leave it. But if this bush was getting really out of control, I would just go ahead and prune a lot of this back. This Gabrielle Oak has more of an upright appearance to it and doesn't really get that much out of control right now. Here's another perfect example of a cluster right here. So you can see 3 dead heads right here, and it's on a cluster. So I'm going to take this back to right here above these 5 set of leaves, and it could be more than 5. If it's 7, that's fine, but you want at least 5 sets, not 3, because that's where they'll put on some new growth, is at the set of 5. And this one is a cluster as well, but I only have 1 spent bloom on that one. And here's another cluster. See 1, 2, 3, 4 blooms that were on this one. This one is going in this way, so I don't want to encourage it to grow everything inside here because then it won't have as much air space. And so I'm going to take it back to this set of 5 leaves here that are growing outwards and just give it a cut there. This is my view from my back porch. Just don't really have a lot of pruning on this rose today. And this rose is a David Austin rose called Eustacia Vye. And deer really have ate up on this one, so this is probably one of the first times that I'm starting to get a lot of growth on these. This is the back view of this quadrant here, angling up into the fire pit area. Now I'm not not going to prune these sprinters until it starts to cool off. I'm going to say probably in the 70s, which it's August right now, so it may be September going into October for us before I could start trimming these. I could trim them now, but if I do, I'm going to see a lot of burn on top of them, and I don't want to harm them that way because then it takes them forever to recover. But here's Eustacia Vye close up. This one's more of a lighter pink hues to it. I'm sure you guys are seeing more dead spent blooms before I am. There's a few right here. Let's see. And this flower can have some different varieties of colors on it as well. Sometimes I could see a coral color coming out of this flower. But just a real light pink. When I designed this garden, I wanted similar colors so it could be eye-pleasing and more eye-catching from afar. So this one's about ready to go out. So this one was a cluster, so I'm going to take it all the way back to here. It rained last night, so that's why you see some water laying on these roses here. So when I look back at this rose, I like all the growth that's going on. I don't have anything too tall or too out of place. I'm gonna have a gorgeous cluster there and here. And that is what this quadrant here looks like from my fire pit. Gabrielle Oak, Eustacia Vye, and this is common space back here for us. And then in this quadrant that I haven't shown you yet is the Princess Alexandra of Kent. And again, this quadrant right here is where the deer pass along from the woods back there. So this one has also got a good natural pruning, I guess you should say. And because of that, I don't really have a lot of spent blooms on this one either. There's one right here. Now this variety does get long and spindly, as you can see. Like this one's not more of an upright, which if I'm choosing for what I have going on and I want a tight quadrant of roses, I like mine more of an upright setting. You can see they're just kind of flopping over onto my boxwoods instead of standing straight up. I'm going to come over here to this really beautiful bloom right here to show you what Alexandra of Kent actually looks like. This one doesn't have much of a variety of color as well. She's just a good hot pink also. So there's Alexandra of Kent, which I don't feel like has as an abundance of blooms as Boscobel does. I'm on the right side of the garden here, next to the Cottage Garden. So my English garden is right smack in the middle of my backyard. Again, that's Boscobel, and then we're gonna work our way down here to Alexandra of Kent. We're looking for any kind of spent blooms that we can cut here. So here's one. So I don't really have any growth on this one or this one. So this is a whole cluster that is just absolutely already spent, and it's a big cluster. So I can cut this one way back. So I'm gonna go all the way back down to this area to make my cut. Right here. So you can see that this is a big cluster here that I've just removed. I really couldn't see where I made that cut, so let me go back here. But I have another one that I didn't get all the way off as well. And this one's broke. So I'm gonna even go down even further. But this is one that is growing into my boxwood, so I'm just gonna trim it back even more. I'm gonna come all the way down here. So that way that limb is not growing into the boxwoods there. And that's what I just cut off. There's not any new growth on these flowers on this one at all. So we'll just pick that up in just a little bit. This is what I mean about this rose. You can see that it's just flapping over this way. It just seems like it's more of an out of control rose for me. So I'm going to do the same with this one. I'm going to come all the way back here, and I'm going to trim this rose up just a little bit. So I've got a set of 5 going this way and a set of 5 going that way. I'm just going to go ahead and make a cut there and just trim this up a little bit. This one, for some reason, got broke. I don't really like my limbs to cross over a lot into other limbs. Spent bloom. This one's going this way. I don't want to encourage it to do that. This one's going that way. And this one had 5 on it, so I think it's safe to say just to cut it right here. This one is just spent bloom. This one down here. Got kind of crossing over each other. You can see how they're just crossing over each other here, which really don't like. But this has a good amount of buds that are about ready to pop open, so I'm going to leave that alone. This is the quadrant from the very back, looking up towards the back porch. When these Alexandra of Kent do bloom, they're a little bit of a bigger bloom, and they are a real pretty bloom as well. They're just more of a crazy rose than I like. So this one right here is about ready, on its way out, but it's on a cluster, so I just want to just take off that one bloom there. And let's see another one here. This is the cottage garden towards the end of the garden here near the common space. And you could see that this is a gorgeous rose right here. This is the celebration rose. And I like the uprightness of this shrub as well. So this one would have been a good option to put in that other quadrant. And I may switch them out one of these days. And this one over here is Olivia Austin. So I do have some clusters up here that need to be pruned. It's starting to rain on me here. But I need to go to the other side to prune that one. And then I have a climbing rose on that trellis right there from Gardener Supply. This is another view from the back, angling up. So right now I'm in the common space. And this is the other side of the cottage garden, where my neighbor can see all my beautiful blooms. So I've got some gorgeous Rose of Sharon, some dahlias in here. Let me see if I can make my way up here and get these spent blooms over here. This is Olivia Austin. And I have some spent blooms there, and they're all in a cluster, so I can just get rid of the whole cluster. So I want to go, I can actually, if I want to take the height of this branch down, I can, which is what I'm going to do because it's a tall branch. So I'm going to come all the way down to a set of leaves that are coming out this way. This one would have been a good option. I even want to take it back further than that, so we're going to take it all the way back to here and remove that, which is a good section of it cut off. But I want to keep it nice and tidy and bring some of this height down. So there is another cluster there. So this is where I pruned the other one. So I want to keep the shape of this rose about the same. And there's a set of 5 coming outward, so I'm going to take this all the way back down to there. And I probably should have gloves on because these are thorny. See the thorns there. There's another spent bloom right there. I'm gonna have some new growth coming out. This is the climbing rose on the trellis. You can see the birds have had their way with this rose. There's some new growth. I don't have any new flowers coming on this. But here's a whole cluster that has completely been done with. I think I'd cut it before, but there's no new growth on there, so I'm going to take it back to here and just get rid of this. Another spent bloom here. Olivia Austin is a real light pink color, not a big variety of color change on her blooms. Just a real pretty soft. In that area I have 2 Olivias and 1 climbing rose and 1 celebration rose. So there's 4 roses in this area right here as well. This is the cottage garden. And up here on the other end I have some yellow roses. See the hummingbird up there? I think it flew away. So these roses are called Charles Darwin. And I don't know if it's because there's not as much sun in this location that they don't repeat bloom as well as they did in the spring. But they still do give me some blooms. I don't see too many spent blooms on this rose. I'm going to come over here to the other side. I have my water feature here that gives me some nice sound in the garden. And I think I already came back here and pruned not too long ago. I don't see any blooms on this Charles Darwin right now. I have a little bit of new growth coming. I have 1 spent bloom here, or 2. See a couple. But just take it back here. These set of 5 leaves are growing out that way. And I have another one here. My basil back there in the background. There. There's one down here. Well, this is actually a cluster here. So I can take this cluster all the way back to here. And I know this set of 5 is going towards me. So I could even take it even more down. It's hard to see, all the way down to that way. So that growth will go that way. This one can even maybe be considered as a climbing rose because it does put out some long branches as well. There's the hummingbird. If I just sit here and be real quiet, she'll ignore me. Mine are very territorial and they'll chase each other off. I hope this video was helpful. I encourage you guys to buy some David Austin roses. I absolutely love them. They're one of my favorites. You can get them on the website called davidaustinroses.com. They have lots of different varieties. The last few that I have gotten, the Boscobel and the Gabrielle Oak and Eustacia Vye, are one of the new varieties that they have out on the market. So anyways, like, these are my favorite. I love them. You'll never be disappointed to put a couple of these into your garden, and have a good day.